Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of Escape, as it was originally broadcast 70 years ago, October 12th, 1952, William Conrad, in an episode entitled Gringo. I guess Conrad said he did over 7,000 radio programs in his years, and this is one of them that's actually pretty interesting. I'm not going to say good, bad. I'll let you be the judge of that. It's not bad as far as I'm concerned, but some of you might not like it. Anyway, we're going back 70 years ago, October 12th, 1952. This is a Wednesday, and you know what that means. This is the 12th day of October, the 285th day of the year, 80 days remaining until we get to 2023. Christopher Columbus's expedition made landfall in the Caribbean on this date in 1492. The explorer believed he had actually reached East Asia. Now, Three Blind Mice, published on this date in 1609 by London teenage songwriter Thomas Ravenscroft. A London woman publicly flogged on this date in 1687 for the crime of involving herself in politics. There are so many jokes I can make on these this morning, and I'm just staying away from them. America's first insane asylum opened on this date in 1773 for persons of insane and disordered minds in Virginia. Another joke, I'm not going there. 1775, the Navy formed. The first celebration of Columbus Day in the U.S. on this date in 1792, held in New York City. Now, Brazil declared its independence from Portugal on this date in 1822, and in 1892, the Pledge of Allegiance first recited in unison by U.S. public schools. Now, of course, in 1892, the words "under God" were not there. In 1901, President Theodore Roosevelt renamed the Executive Mansion to the White House. And in 1928, an iron lung respirator used for the first time at Children's Hospital in Boston. Those would become urgently important about 20 years later when we started hearing about this disease called polio. Filming started on The Wizard of Oz on this date in 1938. George and Gracie premiered on CBS TV on this date in 1950. The show would run for 8 seasons, going off the air September 15, 1958, and that is when Gracie Allen retired. A sad day, almost as sad a day as when Gracie passed, and that was sad as well. I've recommended a book that George Burns wrote called Gracie, A Love Story. And if you are a fan of Burns and Allen, or even if you're not, I recommend the book. It is truly a love story. Nikita Khrushchev pounded his shoe on a desk at UN General Assembly meeting on this date in 1960 because a Philippine assertion of Soviet Union colonialist policy being conducted in Eastern Europe. Well, the Filipinos were right. They were doing that, but I should shut up because a lot of you don't like it when I get political. President Nixon announced on this date in 1970 the U.S. would withdraw 40,000 more troops before Christmas. Premiering on this date in 1986, The Late Show with Joan Rivers on Fox.
Do you find them good-looking in the royal family? Because my husband's English. He thinks they're good-looking. Can we talk here? A bunch of dogs. A bunch of dogs. Go out in the street, call their names. Queenie, Duke, and Prince. See what shows up. Oh, sure.
Of all the people that were not fond of Joan Rivers taking on that show was somebody who probably never saw it. That was Johnny Carson. He was very upset that Joan Rivers took the show without talking to him first. Joan was a frequent guest host on The Tonight Show when Johnny Carson went to take his days away. And that was said. And the show didn't even last a year. It ended in May of 1987. Now, Congress passed the Digital Millennium Copyright Act in 1998, another ineffectual copyright law. USS Cole badly damaged in Yemen on this date in 2000 by 2 suicide bombers, 17 crew members killed, 39 wounded. Now, prompted by a request from President George W. Bush, an episode of America's Most Wanted featured 22 most wanted terrorists in 2001. A year later, terrorists would detonate bombs in 2 nightclubs in Bali, 202 people killed, 300 injured. U.S. announced its decision to withdraw from the UN Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization on this date in 2017, was immediately followed by Israel. And do you remember this? Because this was just weird. Hard Rock Hotel in New Orleans, under construction on this date in 2019, collapsed. 2 people killed, 20 were injured. Passing away on this date in history, rock and roll musician Gene Vincent, Bebop-A-Lula, Johnny Olson, come on down. You know, there are so many game show hosts, among them John Daly from What's My Line, that said that Johnny Olson gave them the best running start of any television show. He was apparently a great warm-up guy. And if you want to see how great Johnny Olson was, there is a clip up on YouTube where Johnny Olson was a mystery guest on What's My Line. And the panel couldn't guess him. And why couldn't they guess him? Because he had all these wonderful voices. Johnny Olson, he was doing television warm-ups, but I'd love to have heard him on radio. I got a dig for that. Governor of Kansas, Alf Landon, also passing away on this date in history. Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, Ray Conniff, Willie Shoemaker, the fine jockey, and also passing away on this date, singer John Denver.
The best part of myself that I've been able to share is in my music, and I hear from people that it has made a difference in their lives, and so I hope that some of that will sustain through the years ahead.
John Denver talking about how he wanted to be remembered, and he is. John Denver passing away on this date in history. Among those born on this date in history, Dick Gregory, funny comedian, also Italian tenor Luciano Pavarotti, and the Dream Baby, Dusty Rhodes.
I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves in the first place. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years. They give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time. That's hard time. And Ric Flair, you put hard times on this country by taking Dusty Rhodes out. That's hard time.
One of the best promotions interviews that he ever did. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, who passed away back in 2015, and you know he's got to be happy of what his sons have done in the wrestling business over the past few years. Dusty Rhodes, born on this date back in 1945. Chris Wallace, who used to be at Fox, is now over at CNN. He's 75 today. Actor-singer Hugh Jackman, 54 today. From Growing Pains, Kirk Cameron, 52. Pretty Little Liars actor Tyler Blackburn, 36. From The Hunger Games, Josh Hutcherson is 30. And a delightful ventriloquist, Darcy Lynn, 18 years old today. Those some of the people celebrating the 12th day of October is their birthday. If this is your birthday,
hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say happy birthday to you.
And from 70 years ago today, October 12th, 1952, Escape. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining Medishare right now. Medishare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medishare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And Medishare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 29 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
I'm Wyatt Cox. This is Classic Radio Theater. You've heard me talk previously about, and I love suspense. And I always believed that Escape was the redheaded stepchild. It never got a lot of respect. And yeah, there were times when suspense got no respect either, but Escape was just badly treated. Time changes, never anything consistent, and what's worse, sponsorship. There were occasional short-term sponsors, but never anything long-term. We'll hear an episode of Escape today, William Conrad starring in an episode entitled Gringo from 70 years ago today, October 12th, 1952.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are on a barren island off the west coast of Mexico. Your only companions, a lovely Indian girl and a half-crazed treasure hunter who have condemned you to die.
Listen now as Escape brings you E. Jack Newman's gripping tale of a strange adventure, Gringo.
It was afternoon. The dust and the heat and the smell of Salina Cruz were at their best when I walked into the cantina. I ordered bizcocho and coffee and settled down to watching the flies and listening to the noises. I hadn't been like that 2 minutes before the guy in the dirty white suit, the one who'd been standing at the end of the bar, walked over, pulled up a chair.
American, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Me too. I guess we're the only ones in town. This is an out-of-the-way place even for Mexico, isn't it?
It seems to be.
Marshall Rhodes is the name. I'm from Minneapolis. I saw you bring that schooner in this morning. I didn't get your name.
Jim Canavan.
You don't mind if I sit here with you?
All right, what's the pitch?
No?
How could you see me bring in my schooner? There's no window in back of that bar over there.
Yeah, I guess I have been hitting it up a little bit lately. Happens sometimes when you get stuck in these places, you know.
Yeah, sure, I know all about it. You came here to get away from your wife, study the customs, write a book, and to love the ladies, huh? The party's over now, and your dough's run out. The local government won't let you work, and you're broke. Am I right?
Mr. Canavan, I know we just met, but you're an American, too, and you know this is no place to be broke.
All right, mister, we've had our conversation.
Huh?
Goodbye.
Well, you won't give a fellow American a... Sorry I bothered you.
You didn't bother me.
Why, you can't...
Here, buy yourself a drink and be somebody.
I met your kind too, Mr. Canavan. Someday, someplace, you'll get chopped down to the size you really are.
Are you gonna do it, Rummy?
Be careful in here, Mr. Canavan. You're just new. I've got friends.
He is right. What?
Buenas tardes, Senor Rhodes.
Who are you?
Ramon Chavez. Here, Mr. Rhodes. This is a loan.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chavez. See you later.
What are you, Chavez? Police?
No, nothing like that. Mr. Rhodes is very deteriorated, true, but his analysis of you seemed most accurate. You have very little humanity about you.
Look,
Mr.
maybe I was
Canavan.
too tough with Rhodes. Maybe I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear about it from you.
I am looking for a bargain with you.
Look, friend, your English is pretty good, and I just bet you can talk your way in or out of practically anything. But let me tell you this.
Now, wait. I am here to make a bargain. I am offering you something.
You're offering me what?
Treasure, Mr. Canavan?
No. Well, what is it? A lost ship? An undiscovered gold mine?
All of those things, if you like, and more.
Oh, sure.
Mr. Canavan, in some respects, we are similar. Still, I had hoped for a more cooperative partner.
What are you talking about? I don't even know you.
But I know you have a boat. I saw it. And I have heard of you. During your stop in my country, you have accumulated a reputation for bluntness.
And you know, I mean what I say, and I'm saying
And
that you...
I mean what I say. Now be smart and listen. 40,000 American dollars. 40,000 American dollars.
So long, Chavez. Two nights later, the local town council gave a band concert from the square. I could see part of it and hear most of it from the deck of the Argus.
Hello, Gringo.
What? Oh, hello, Chavez.
You left this note for me at the cantina this afternoon?
Yeah. Come aboard. I got to thinking about your proposition.
Bargain.
About your bargain.
I thought you would think about it, Gringo.
Knock off that Gringo stuff, huh? I've been around a while.
They will always call you Gringo.
Okay, mister, let's have it. What's the story?
You know Canimba?
I've seen it on a map, yeah.
South of here. It is my home.
I thought this was.
I have only been here a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fisherman. One day, when we were far out to sea, beyond all of the other boats, I heard a plane droning overhead. Then suddenly it was edging over the water out of control. It crashed on one of the small islands considerably offshore, barren places for the most part, rocks and sand. When we returned to Canimba, we learned that a Salazar Mining Company plane had been lost at sea. It carried a $40,000 cash payroll.
You mean it's still there on that island?
Untouched.
How do you know it didn't explode and burn?
We saw it crash. It just broke up a little. Paper money does not break very easily.
Uh-huh. Where is this island, Chavez?
That is my part of the bargain. Yours is this boat.
You said we. Who else is in on this?
No one. The man who helped me on my boat was anxious to report what we had seen to the authorities. When he learned it was a Salazar mining plane, he thought there would be a reward in it. I killed him. Well, Gringo?
Where's all that humanity you were talking about?
Diego was of a surly nature. I did him a service.
All right, what are you trying to hand me? You're trying to get me to take my boat out and pick up some Chinese you got waiting on one of those islands ready to push in the back door of the United States?
Let go of me.
I wasn't born yesterday. You can make any one of those islands in a fishing jig. A baby could do it.
A baby with a powerboat? Let go. I take this from you, Gringo. Just for now.
What about a powerboat?
I attempted it. At first I thought I was a bad seaman because I could not get within a mile of the island. There is a peculiar current there, most unnatural, too strong for a small jig. And the depth is too shallow for a large boat. There is no way to get to that island without a powerboat like this one. Anything else?
The English. You didn't learn it in Canimba.
I spent some time in the United States once.
And you want to go back, is that it?
Where else would I spend that good American money?
Can you shove off tonight?
8 o'clock?
Yeah. I spent the rest of the day laying in stores and fueling up. I fired the 2 Mexican boys who'd been working as my crew. And by 8 o'clock, I was ready to shove off. Chavez was right on time.
We are all ready, Gringo?
Yeah. Your wife?
Almost. This is Maria.
She's saying goodbye?
I am saying hello, senor. I'm going with you.
I thought no one else knew about this. What is it, a three-way split?
I will pay Maria from my share. She's a good sailor. We can use three hands.
I didn't figure on a woman being aboard.
Well, then, figure on it, Gringo.
Come on. Want to get those lines?
Sure.
Clear.
All clear, Gringo.
Cast off.
I can take it.
You sure?
My father owned one of these in Acapulco.
Okay. Better that point till we get clear.
See, I know.
You been to the States, too?
No. I study my English at home. I like very much what I see of the United States.
Huh?
Oh, in the books and magazines I read. I meet many Americanos in Acapulco. I see how they live. I like to live like that. Very much. I'm not happy here. Oh, it's fine for some people. For me, not for me, no.
October 12, 1952, Escape on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The news from 70 years ago is next. Thanks for tuning into Classic Radio Theater here on your favorite station. I'm Wyatt Cox. We're listening to an episode of Escape, Gringo, starring William Conrad, as it was broadcast Sunday, October 12, 1952. In the newspapers of that Sunday 70 years ago, these were some of the headlines. President Truman charged in a Harlem speech yesterday that Dwight D. Eisenhower, while he was in uniform, favored some racial segregation in the Army. Mr. Truman called for compulsory fair employment practice legislation and accused the Republican presidential candidate of waging double-talk campaign on civil rights. A strategy of a high-level approach avoiding personalities and partisan retorts was under study yesterday by General Eisenhower's political high command for the final weeks of the presidential campaign. The decision, an informant said, will be based on examination of reports coming in now from all parts of the country. Tenacious South Korean infantrymen clung desperately to a knob 50 yards below the top of White Horse Hill early yesterday, while blazing Allied air artillery fire pounded the battle-chewed crest into a seeming no-man's land. It had changed hands 23 times in 125 hours of non-stop battle. Freshman enrollment in the nation's colleges and university appears to be about 15% higher this fall than last fall. That from the U.S. Office of Education. Earl J. McGrath, Education Commissioner, said if remaining reports back up this year, there will be about 540,000 students entering college classes this year. Odds are better than 50-50 that the Wage Stabilization Board will approve new contracts won by John L. Lewis, raising the basic daily wage of his soft coal miners from $16.35 to $18.25. The Lewis settlement, reached with most soft coal operators with whom the United Mine Workers Union has contracts, resulted in benefits substantially higher than those automatically approvable under the board's cost of living wage regulations. Some Negro leaders warning their people to move cautiously in their legal campaign to get the Supreme Court to rule segregation in public schools unconstitutional. The court now has 3 such cases pending. These leaders advise don't put the court in a spot where it will have to rule definitively that segregation is legal or illegal. Present the cases in such a way that the court, which has shown its interest in Negro civil rights, can give a decision favorable to the Negroes and yet make no definitive decision on the constitutionality of segregation. They fear if the court finds segregation does not violate the Constitution, many of the Negroes' present gains might be lost. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Sunday, October 12th, 1952, on your Radio Escape, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Here was an Indian girl done up in one of those outfits with 80 different colors in them. But it was easy to imagine her in New York, walking out of Saks Fifth Avenue wearing plenty of class. It was plenty easy. She was the reason Chavez had to take me in my boat. He had a sure thing with that wrecked plane sitting on the island. It could wait. But he didn't have a sure thing with her. She wasn't the type who would wait for anybody.
Jim?
What?
Why you look?
Pretty nice.
The English?
You.
You glad I come?
Baby, I wouldn't have had you miss this trip for the world.
Everything okay, Gringo?
Yeah, sure. Everything's fine.
Good. But remember, Gringo, Maria is not part of our bargain.
We will return to Escape and tonight's story, Gringo, in just a moment.
October 12th, 1952, Escape on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, counter spy Don McLaughlin Mandel Kramer from 73 years ago, October 13th, 1949. The case of the high-class hijacker in Tennessee. A trailer truck is relieved of its cargo by Fatso and his buddy. No relation. Counter spy tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now, more and the conclusion of Escape. Gringo, starring William Conrad, 70 years ago, October 12th, 1952.
Once we cleared the harbor, we cut the engines and hauled up the canvas. And we used sail most of the trip to save fuel. That's why it took us 3 days to get to those islands. But we were lucky. The weather was good, and the sea was calm. Both Maria and Chavez knew their way around the schooner, so we took turns standing watch. I liked it best when Chavez was at the wheel.
You are very funny, Jim.
Sure. Look, Maria, when this is all over with, what happens, huh?
Oh, Ramon and I be married, go to live in United States.
Huh? You may have to wait a long time. I know some people who've waited around those border towns 7, 8 years. That's a long time, baby.
I tell you once, I want to live in United States. I will.
And he's going to have $20,000 pretty soon. Is that it?
No, live like a peasant in United States. Fine clothes, place to live, like in the book.
Suppose I took you.
You?
Yeah, sure, me. Once this is over, I can get you in right away, Maria. No waiting.
You mean this?
Sure, baby. Come here.
No. No.
Come here. Now, how about it?
You don't like me that way, Jim. It's because you hate him. I can see this.
Suppose he weren't around.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean?
We have all the money, eh?
Why, you little... You've been thinking about it all this time, haven't you?
Gringo! Maria! We are here! There it is!
What? Come on, Maria.
Yeah.
There! Over there, beyond that point.
Here, let me have those glasses.
The middle one. See it?
Yeah. Yeah, I can make it out okay. Hey.
What?
The plane, it's right there. 200 yards off the beach. Nothing around it.
What? I tell you, Gringo is there waiting for us. Hey!
It sure is. It sure is. Get those engines going.
What do you think?
Gringo?
I don't know. We're using a lot of fuel. We're making headway, but I don't like this current. Never saw anything like it before.
It becomes stronger as you come toward the island, but it bears off to the left there. We could try it from the other side?
Now, it'd take 4 days to walk across those rocks. No thanks. We'll get in if we... What's that?
Over there, look!
Holy...
What is it? The world going crazy?
No. Something under the water's trying to get up.
A volcano?
Yeah. I saw one down in Tahiti once, just breaking through. No wonder there's a current here.
How long does it take, Gringo?
20,000 years. Or 20 minutes.
Can we get to the island?
We can't if we don't get blown up. Maria.
See, Jim.
Head us straight in now. By 4 in the afternoon, whatever was going on under the water seemed to slack off a little bit. At least there weren't any more explosions. We were 100 yards offshore when we dropped anchor in about 15 feet of water. We lowered the dinghy and a few minutes later beached it through the surf.
Come on, Gringo, they are here.
Yeah.
I watch the boat.
There she is.
$40,000, Gringo.
Yeah. Must be in the compartment.
Sure.
Give me a hand, will you?
Here.
Okay?
Yeah. That's stuck. Can you get your fingers under the bottom from there?
I try. See.
All right, I'll pry from here. Harder. Harder.
Wow. Well, is it there, Gringo?
Yeah. It's here all right. Here, catch.
Locked.
Yeah, wait a minute. Here's my knife.
Good.
It is all here. I told you it was a treasure.
Yeah, we better get out of this place. Looks like it might blow up.
It is.
And you are going to be with it. Goodbye, Gringo. You can keep the knife.
You are hurt bad, Jim.
Yeah.
Dick, do not move.
He left you too, huh?
He hit me down. And he took the dinghy and went out to the Argus. He's gone. He tells me we enjoy each other better if we're alone.
That isn't going to help.
You died, Jim?
Not if I can help it. There must be a first aid kit in that plane somewhere. The cabin of the freight compartment. It'll have a red cross on it.
See, I understand.
We'll go get it. And let's get this thing out of me.
It is better now, Jim?
Yeah. That knife must have bounced off a rib. Or I'd be dead now.
What happened to us now, Jim?
Yeah, we gotta get help. Make flares, signals, maybe we... radio. That plane must have a radio in it. Here, help me up, will you?
Jim, you walk?
I walk or I lie here and die. Come on. Come on.
Oh, be careful. The stitch you're making, it's not too good.
Now, get me over to that plane.
Yeah! Look!
What?
Over there!
He must have been trying the same thing we want to do. All the tubes are busted.
And him?
He's no good either, baby.
Who was he?
Probably the pilot. He sat here and starved to death trying to work that busted radio. that, we didn't talk much. We both knew we were going to wind up just like that pilot. That first day, I just stretched out on the sand and dozed off. Maria sat with her back to a rock looking out to sea. Every now and then some water would boil up offshore, and we'd hear those rumblings. That night she built a fire, and we sat there and looked at each other over the flames.
All my life I dream. I tell myself, someday you go to America with a fine, handsome husband and live there. Wear pretty clothes. Oh, I want this very much.
Maria, I'm sorry I got you into this.
What?
I wanted you because you belong to him. No other reason. You see, it's been this way all my life. I take. I won't let any other man be better than me. And they're all better now. You know, a few days ago, a bum on the beach, a guy without anything, told me that I'd get chopped down to size someday. Well, he was right. I'm down to size now.
Jim, I too have been this way all my life. I know what you feel now. We are the same kind.
Yeah. Maria?
Yes?
I'd really take you to the States. I'd buy you the best clothes they had on Fifth Avenue. I'd be proud to walk in any place with you and say you were my wife.
You love me?
That's what they call it, I guess.
Jim, I love too.
Oh, Martha. It's a good feeling, isn't it, baby?
Oh, see, Jim, see. The world explodes around us and we surely die, but we help each other, Jim. It's not so bad then.
No, Maria. Maria.
Oh.
I thought I'd better wake you. The sun's getting hot.
Oh, see, very hot. The noise.
What?
The noise is a stop.
Hey, you're right. Maybe that old volcano decided to stay under the water after. Maria, look. It's the Argus.
Jim!
She's stuck in the sand right off the beach. Chavez came back for us, Maria.
But current, how could she?
Oh, who knows? The volcano's quiet, the sea's calm. Come on. You know, I may walk you up Fifth Avenue yet. Don't ask me how we got across that beach and waded out to the Argus. I don't know myself. Except that Maria had to half carry me and push me, but we did get aboard. All the sails were furled against the main. The main flapped loosely, the heavy boom free to swing.
Ramon! Ramon! Jim, he's not here. He did not come back for us.
No. Schooner drifted in alone. Beached us.
Jim, look!
What?
The man inside too.
Oh, it's all here.
But where is Ramon?
Maybe when he tried to handle the mainsail alone, he got knocked overboard. We'll never know, poor devil. All right, Maria, go up forward and start the engines. We're heading for the mainland. By the time we anchored the Argus in the bay at Salina Cruz, Maria was more like her old self, fiery and independent the way she was when she first came aboard with Chavez, and as beautiful as ever. She bundled me off to the hospital and left me there while she went to return the money to the Salazar mining people. 2 weeks later, I was on my feet again, and the first afternoon out found me back at the cantina, where it had all begun.
Pardon me, I see you're an American, and not many Americans come down here to...
Hello, Rhodes.
Oh, I didn't recognize you from the back, Mr. Canavan.
Why don't you sit down?
What?
Sit down.
Well, thank you, Mr. Canavan.
Pour yourself a drink.
You've changed, Mr. Canavan.
Yeah, I know. I've been in a hospital for 2 weeks, Rose.
Yes, I heard.
Man can do a lot of thinking in 2 weeks.
Mr. Canavan, I didn't want to be the one, but she insisted, and I...
What are you talking about?
Maria, she gave me a message for you.
Oh.
She said to...
Wait a minute, Rhodes. I think I know what it is. I haven't seen Maria since she dumped me in the hospital 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
She never got to the Salazar mining people, did she?
No. No, she didn't, Mr. Canavan.
She took the 40,000 and left, didn't she?
Yeah.
Well, then, here's to Maria. And you know something, Rhodes? I'll bet she looks great walking down Fifth Avenue alone.
What? What do you mean?
Never mind, Rhodes. It's just that Maria hasn't changed a bit. She'll never change.
Oh.
But I have. You see, I've been cut down to size, Rhodes. You remember? It's your bottle. Finish it. Good luck to you.
Where are you going, Mr. Canavan?
Oh, on south, maybe. But I'm traveling light, Rhodes, real light. And you know what? I think I'm going to like it.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Gringo by E. Jack Newman, starring William Conrad. Featured in the cast were Edgar Berry as Chavez, Lillian Baeff as Maria, and Parley Bear as Rhodes. Editorial supervision is by John Meston, and the special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens.
October 12th, 1952, Escape on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there. You can also buy me a copy. Find our social media links. To buy me a copy helps us acquire new classic radio collections to bring you here on your favorite station. Thanks for tuning in. Thank this station. Support the advertisers. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.